Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Ben Jones, Product Development Specialist with Nasdaq Index Research, to discuss the impact of cyber attacks and an index that tracks the companies fighting for cybersecurity. Ben, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks. And if we take a look at your first slide here, the headlines can be quite impactful, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, this is a theme that we really haven't touched upon the last few weeks or really a couple of months, but it's in the headlines, and unfortunately for bad reasons. I think if you go back to early December, there was news that there was a massive hack that took place that had actually been taking place since March in the United States, which is, a hack that infiltrated a number of government agencies and potentially, corporations. It's called the SolarWinds hack. SolarWinds is a cybersecurity, information technology company. Their tools are used for like networking monitoring across a lot of federal and corporate networks. And turns out some Russian hackers were able to get in some malware backdoor, so to speak, and it sent shockwaves. Because we're talking agencies like the Department of State, Homeland Security that were impacted. Just yesterday, I saw news of another hack that took place in Florida, where a hacker tried to poison a water treatment plant in Florida. There was an engineer who actually saw someone, take control of the computer, use the mouse to change the level of chemicals in the water that unfortunately could have, killed some people if they didn't catch it. It's terrifying. And then there was, news again where you keep seeing that cybersecurity is one of the greatest threats that we will face as a society in the future, right? So the World Economic Forum calls cybersecurity one of the key threats of the next decade. So unfortunately, it's scary. It will impact you, it will impact me, but it's certainly an opportunity, as there's going to be companies that are looking to provide solutions and services in this space that will innovate and grow and meet this, cybersecurity challenge.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ben, because think of all the things that you don't hear about, right? You only hear the things that are going to make the headlines, but there are thousands and millions of cyber threats that are thwarted every day because of this technology. Let's take a look at your second slide here, the effect of data breaches.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about the hack of SolarWinds was that it's actually, a cybersecurity company that was involved, right? It was hacked. And ultimately another cybersecurity, FireEye, was the one who noticed it and started to see the activity and reported it. And so it was a situation where, how would a cybersecurity company perform going forward if they were hacked? How would the theme do? Right? I mean, does it really question the very nature of cybersecurity? Well, what's interesting is that if we look at this theme, we find that, when we do see hacks and data breaches, we tend to see, the cybersecurity theme do well from a performance standpoint, right? So, here's an example looking at our NQ Cyber Index. And what we have found is that data breaches have an immediate impact on cybersecurity companies, 1 week after the breach, as well as going out, 1 month past the breach. And what's interesting is that after the breach that was reported in December, again, a breach that was taking place for months in 2020, we did see, these cybersecurity companies and the market react in a positive way. So we have seen, this impact of positive performance after a major breach, after a major breach and after a major hack.
And Ben, your final chart here, we're taking a look at the cybersecurity index performance, and you can see the outperformance there.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I was talking about, right? So if we go back to the beginning of November, we can see that the ISC Cybersecurity UCITS Index has outperformed and has been outperforming, the Nasdaq Global Technology Index by a pretty wide margin, over 12% over this time period. Granted, we did see the cybersecurity theme have a little bit of a lull at the midpoint of last year and trailed traditional technology benchmarks, but we have seen momentum back enter the picture. And a lot of this has to do with how the cyber theme performed after the SolarWinds hack. And you can see that response in the chart, and that response has carried into 2021. Again, as this theme moves front and center based off of the headlines, you see the current presidential administration is putting it front and center from a legislation and policy standpoint. So it could be one of the major themes for 2021, just like it was in 2020.
All right, Ben, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.